I'm going to show you in this demonstration how to solder a wire. So this is 16 gauge electrical wire, copper core, stranded wire, not house wiring. Okay, it's house wiring in automotive, it's rigid. You move it too many times, it will break. So this is it's got strands in it. So 16 gauge, got a nice piece here. So there's a cutter, and then here it's a 16. We can strip it. You can see it's frayed. Okay, it's frayed wire, so twist it, and it is flexible. You know, for example, that electrical connection between the car and the car door. You know, if I open and close the car door a few thousand times, it can't break. Okay, so automotive uses different gauges. The be a lot thicker and thinner, but this is just some standard automotive wire. So we're going to strip both ends. We don't want to cut the copper, we're just cutting the plastic insulator off. Okay, so I've got some wire stripped off there. I'm going to use a little bit of this dual wall heat shrink, and I'm going to use a heat gun. You could use a lighter, but who wants to put flame underneath the car, especially if you smell, you know, gasoline or something. I prefer to use a heat gun, it's safer, more controlled. Okay, so here's our dual wall. Put that on there first, because once we solder it, you have a hard time putting this on later, especially if you're fixing or doing a repair on a wiring harness. Okay, I'm going to twist these two together, nice and close. Okay, so it actually, there it goes. I'll be able to slip that on after. Feel like a big fat lump there. Okay, my goal is to get solder into this connection. So let's fire up our trusty gun. I think I'm going to put a little bit of flux. So this solder is rosin core. It's got a little bit of flux inside of it to clean up. Okay, and it's lead free, nice and safe. On my electrical connection here, I'm just gonna a dab on. Especially if you're using older wire, this flux heat activates and it will clean up. Clean up the wire so it will accept solder. Our goal is to get solder all the way through, and when I go to mark this, I'm going to cut it in half to make sure I can see we've got a solder connection. Not just gobbed up on top, it's actually all the way through. Okay, so let's tin the tip here. With these guns, they're dual heat. Pull the trigger all the way. The smell, it gets hot, they hum a bit. There it goes. And once it warms up, it will melt the solder at the end of the tip. Okay, we've melted solder now. I'm going to heat from the bottom. Once that boils off, I can see it boiling. I'm going to add solder to the top. Okay, we'll be able to get some solder into that wire as soon as that wire heats up. There it goes. See it smoking now. There. Okay, I've got solder all through that line. It's actually, when I remove the heat, I can see the solder go into the connection. It's not gobbed up on the outside, it's on the inside now. So we're just going to let that cool. I like to wipe off the excess solder. Don't see a rag close by, but we can always wipe that off. Actually, I did not put, you don't need a lot of this. One little drop will do. You don't want this to be wet. It just encourages it to burn off any impurities or oils or fingerprints off that wire, so the solder can go inside. Okay, it's cool to the touch. I'm going to bring my shrink wrap over. I'll make sure the shrink wrap covers any bare wire. Okay, so there's no bare wire, and I'm going to switch tools. I'm going to use this heat gun. There we go. I normally turn it on 2. Heat my fingertips up. I can hold my wire with your needle nose. Number 2, put it on 2. And this will shrink, and being dual walled, there'll be a little bit of this clear, I call it jelly, but it's a second layer, and it's actually sealer. Because we'll have a nice waterproof connection. So if you were like fixing your trailer wiring, and you wondered why last time all the wires turned blue, That was because salt water got in there. There you go, I can actually see it's actually shrunk down. And if you take a close look, you can see a little bit of white coming out of each end. That is the dual wall. So this is a nice, flexible, waterproof, good electrical connection. To check the connection, I'm going to cut it right in the middle where I can see the wires are put together. And hopefully we see solid silver on both, meaning the solder got all the way through to the wire, and that would be perfect. That would be a level 4, perfect wire. This is very acceptable in the automotive trade. We like to shrink wrap and solder connections. We don't use butt connectors, we don't do twisted tape. All that's going to do is cause a fire under the dash. So this is acceptable. You can take the rigors of a bouncy ride, as your car is always moving and shaking and twisting and turning. So this is very acceptable for automotive repair, and this is what I expect you to make for me, and it should look just like that. Okay, until next time, stay dirty.